Hello, Year 2. Today I'm going to read you the book Vincent Van Gogh, Sunflowers and Swirly Stars by Brad Bucks and Joan Holub, and then I've got a task for you to do. The book is written as if Brad was a child at school writing a report on Vincent Van Gogh for his teacher. Stories of the not rich and not famous. Did you know Vincent Van Gogh got rich from being an artist? I did. I heard on TV that one of his paintings sold for over $82 million. It is called The Portrait of Dr. Gachet. Painting would be a cool way to earn lots of money, I thought. Vincent van Gogh was lucky to have earned that much for just one picture. That is why I picked him for my artist. But then I found out the truth. Vincent van Gogh was poor his whole life. He did not become famous until after he died. When Vincent was a boy. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853. He lived in a little town in Holland called Groot zu Dirt. His father was a preacher and his mother was a housewife. There were 6 kids in his family. He was the oldest. I know what that's like. I have a little brother and a little sister. I am the oldest too. Vincent's favourite brother was named Theo. Theo always tried to help him out of trouble, and Vincent got into plenty of that. School was no fun for Vincent. He got bad grades and had a hard time making friends. He quit school when he was only 16. Vincent gets lucky. Luckily, Vincent's uncle gave him a job in an art gallery in Holland. This was his first big break. At home, Vincent didn't get to go to art museums. There weren't any art books around either. But at his new job, Vincent saw art all day long, so he really liked it. He was so good at his job that his boss gave him a promotion. He sent him to work in an art gallery in London, England. Things were looking up. When Vincent moved away, I think he really missed Theo. Vincent wrote lots of letters to his brother. He drew pictures all around the edges of the paper. There were pictures of buildings and interesting things he saw. In those days, most people didn't have cameras. It's a good thing that Vincent could draw. Vincent messes up. Soon Vincent was in trouble again. He fell in love with a woman who didn't love him back. He felt sad all the time. Sometimes he forgot to go to work. Guess what? He lost his job. Now Vincent needed a new job. He tried being a teacher. That didn't work out. He tried selling books in a bookstore. That didn't work either. Then he tried to be a preacher. Nope. Vincent felt like a failure when these jobs didn't work out. Vincent starts painting. Next, Vincent decided to be a painter. He didn't start out as a great artist. Most artists begin painting when they're a lot younger than he was. Vincent has a lot of catching up to do. He practiced by copying other artists at first. 2 of his favourite were Rembrandt van Gogh and Jean-Francois Millet. They painted with dark colours, so Vincent did too. Vincent wanted to paint pictures of things he cared about. There were lots of poor people in Vincent's neighbourhood. He worried about them. He painted a picture of them and called it The Potato Eaters. Vincent worked on the picture for months. He was proud of it. But the colours are dark and the people look sad. I don't like it. Nobody else did either. Time to move. Vincent went to live in Paris, France in 1886. He met lots of other artists there. Many of them, like Claude Monet, are famous today, but back then they were just struggling artists like Vincent. In Vincent's time, artists painted pictures to look real, almost like photographs. Some artists began experimenting. They put their feelings into their paintings. Their brush strokes showed. These artists were nicknamed Impressionists because they painted their impressions of things they saw. People were shocked by their art. Vincent made friends with artists named Paul Signac and Georges Seurat. They painted in a style called pointillism. Up close, their pictures looked like a mess of dots, but from far away, they looked like regular paintings. Paul Signac tried to get Vincent to paint with dots. Instead of just dots, Vincent tried something else. He painted with dashes and swirls. While he was in Paris, Vincent saw some Japanese paintings. They really wowed him. Japanese artists painted with bright colours. They left the shadows out of their pictures, and they drew outlines around some things. Vincent tried these art ideas in his paintings. Best buddies. The best thing about Paris was that Theo lived there too. Vincent and his brother became roommates. Sounds great, huh? Wrong. Vincent was a pest. He liked to argue. He was messy too. Sometimes he just tried too hard. He got so excited about painting that he drove other people crazy. Theo's friends didn't like Vincent. They wouldn't come over anymore. Theo wanted Vincent to move out, and after 2 years he finally did. Vincent and Theo stayed best buddies even though they fought a lot. Everyone else ignored Vincent's paintings. Theo always told him how good they were. I agree with Theo. I think Vincent's pictures are great. Everything in them looks alive and moving. The skies, the trees, even people's clothes and skin. Sunflowers. Vincent left Paris and headed south to Arles, France. He moved into a house that he shared for a while with another painter called Paul Gauguin. The house was yellow. Yellow was Vincent's favourite colour. Vincent painted all the time in Arles. He got better and better at it. He liked to paint pictures of people, but there was something even better that he liked to paint: flowers. Every morning he got up early and picked a bunch of the yellow sunflowers that grew near his house. Vincent would paint still life pictures of the sunflowers until they got droopy. Sometimes he painted 2 sunflower pictures in one day. His sunflower paintings look happy. I think he was in a good mood when he painted them. Work, work, work. Vincent loved to work. One time he painted 18 pictures in just 26 days. He painted fast because he wanted to get his feelings into the picture before he forgot them. Vincent's paintings took weeks to dry because he put paint on really thick. He even squirted it onto the picture straight from the tube when he was in a hurry. He was always buying more paint. Paint, brushes and canvas cost a lot of money. Sometimes Vincent had to choose between paint or food. He didn't have enough money for both. He chose paint. He must have really loved painting. Theo wasn't rich either, but he believed in Vincent 100%. He wanted him to be able to paint as much as he wanted, so Theo bought as much paint as he could for Vincent. He even sent him allowance. I don't know how much. Weirdo. Vincent didn't like to paint from his imagination. He usually went outside to paint things he saw. He painted all day in the hot sun. When it got dark, he stuck candles in his hat and just kept working. The people in Arles thought Vincent was weird because he did things like that. As usual, Vincent didn't have many friends. He couldn't sell any paintings. He was lonely and sad. One day, Vincent went a little crazy and cut off part of his ear. He gave it to a woman as a present. The police came and took him to a hospital. He almost died. When he got better, he kept on painting, but he was never really the same after that. If I met Vincent Van Gogh, I would ask him 3 questions. 1. Were you sorry you cut off your ear? 2. Which of your paintings do you like best? 3. What was the happiest day of your life? And I would tell him something too. Don't worry if you don't sell any paintings right now. Someday you'll be famous. Vincent the Great. I feel really sorry for Vincent Van Gogh. He had an unhappy life. When he was 37 years old, he shot himself and died. That makes me sad. I think it would make Vincent happy if he knew that people love his paintings now. Theo's wife saved Vincent's paintings and letters. When her son grew up, he put them into a museum. Vincent became famous. Now Vincent's paintings are in all museums all over the world. I've never seen a real painting by Vincent Van Gogh, but I hope I will someday. These are things that surprised me about Vincent Van Gogh. 1. He wasn't rich. 2. He cut off part of his ear. I wish he hadn't done that. 3. He only sold 1 painting during his whole life. It was called The Red Vineyards. 4. He was only an artist for 10 years. He started when he was 27 and died when he was 37. He made over 1,700 drawings and paintings in that short time. That's almost 1 every 2 days. 5. He thought the name Van Gogh was hard to read, so he signed his pictures with his first name like this, Vincent. Your turn. So we're going to go back to the page where it said if I could ask Vincent a question. If I would ask him, were you sorry you cut off your ear? Which of your paintings do you like best? What was the happiest day of your life? And because you've been listening to me for a very long time, your task is actually quite a short one. If you met Vincent van Gogh, what would you like to ask him? And again, as we've done throughout lockdown, you can either record your answer and put it onto Tapestry, or you can write your answer down. So if you were to meet Vincent van Gogh, what one question, just one question, what would you like to ask him? I guess if you would like to do more, that would be absolutely fine. But I'm only asking you for one. What would you like to ask Vincent van Gogh? Thank you for spending time with me, Year 2.